It is now time for the Jerry Jones Show every Tuesday at this time, brought to you by Ford, built for Texas, built for you. I'm Sean Sharif alongside our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt with Choppy out for the week. And let's bring in his first comments since the Buffalo beatdown, Hall of Fame owner and general manager, Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan. Good morning, Jerry. How are you, sir?
On Bobby, good morning.
Jerry, your thoughts on the Bills game, if you could, please.
Well, we didn't finish, and period. And that's not in the nature of the overall game, but we have markers that we adapt to individual plays, individual players, as a team, as a unit, and the underlying thing you saw was you just didn't finish it. And you didn't finish your, on an individual basis, you didn't go through the play, finish the series, finish the game. That was caused by untimely penalties, untimely mistakes, just a lot of those kinds of things that can keep you from moving the chains. And that was consistent throughout the game. And when that happens to you, you are going to lay an egg, and we did.
Jerry, what was your assessment of the run defense and why their running back was able to have the day that he did?
Well, again, tackling. We just had missed tackles, and we had missed tackles by our best. The coach said nobody got a game ball. We did have two or three players really that were, I thought, played well and to better than well, but still, we didn't tackle. And fundamentally, I know this is just simply old hat, but boy, when you got them in your sights, you got to bring them to the ground, and when they bounce off of you or are able to get around you, then that sounds elementary, but that's a fact. We didn't tackle. We didn't have much chance to play pass defense because they didn't have to. They just ran the ball. And the good news that I would say is that this is correctable from week to week. You can emphasize fundamentals because you've been practicing them the entire year since training camp, for that matter, back in the spring to some degree. And these are the kinds of things that, and we have the talent that you can be better from one week to the next. The finishing, the physical tackling, the basically adjusting so that you don't have as much, the other team have as much success running outside. Those are things that can be adjusted from week to week. And that's what I look at, and that's what I'm encouraging about. We can specifically address what beat us in Buffalo for next Sunday.
Jerry Jones here on 105.3 The Fan. Jerry, I'm glad that you feel like it can be fixed. That sounds encouraging because the media commentary, including from us, the book on the Cowboys is they can be bullied or that you can run down their throats. We saw it against San Fran and Arizona in this game. Do you think that that is a fair criticism, and why should we be encouraged it can be changed when those teams have shown that to be a formula?
We all want to hang certain identifying traits to any game or to any team. But when you use those specifics, say bullied, go down to the man and see if you think Parsons gets bullied all the time or a majority of his plays are bullied. Go down through your men and look at them. And they have played, you've seen it, when they weren't bullied. And they have played games, and they've played against some good teams, Philadelphia being one of them. And so I would say this, that throughout our certainly we're talking about some defense right now, they've played a lot of plays out there this year, played a lot of games when they weren't bullied.
Yeah.
So I would get down, my assessment would go beyond the score. The score is obvious. We didn't show up in a manner of speaking. But we did show up. We just let up in critical areas that will potentially attribute to what I'm talking about. Mistakes, untimely penalties, keep drives alive, turn the ball over, attempt block punt, turn the ball over, give them the equivalent of a turnover. All of those kinds of things, and I don't need to reiterate them for the audience, but what I will time and time again tell you, I have seen the individual players. I've seen what we're going to do against Miami. I've seen us do it a lot more in a way that will help us beat Miami than I've seen us not do it like we did against Buffalo by the very same players all year.
I'm talking with Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones. Jerry, you mentioned the penalties there, and we heard some players talk about that too after the game, and we've heard that in a couple different instances. Do you think at times the players are too wrapped up in the officiating? Are they almost, do you think, distracted by it?
Not at all. Not at all. I think you're frustrated and disappointed when they get a penalty and they don't think they deserve a penalty. But everybody probably playing out there in the NFL has had that happen to them. And so the point is that our group know the answer to penalties is to don't give them a chance to make the call. And the officials I'm talking about, that's the answer. Don't get yourself in that spot. If that thing pops outside and it was an interior run, watch out. If you got your hands on the outside of the block, if you're a blocker and it's a defensive guy, you're likely, when that ball bounces outside, you're likely to get a holding penalty. So think it through. But again, I want to emphasize, I've seen the very players that are going to line up against Miami do what I'm talking about doing positively and do it well. And do it well. When you, with a combination of players, don't do it well, you can have happen to you. What happens? Now, we all know that we like to tee off, and we like to tee off when we think we can afford to, when it's not too big a risk. Well, when they've got you down, when they're running, you're playing from behind, many, many things that you can't tee off. That takes some of the best thing we do. I saw where Quinn said our best thing is our nuances of our tackling. That's the best thing we do, and when we don't do the best thing we do, then we've got a chance of negative things happening. And again, this isn't a coaches meeting that I'm having with all of our fans this morning, but I am saying very emphatically, we can correct what we did in Buffalo. We have done it, and we've done it against as good a players as we're going to be playing Sunday. And we can reverse this thing from what we had in Buffalo.
Jerry Jones here on 105.3 The Fan. Jerry, what did the Bills do defensively that you guys took note of to limit Dak in the offense?
They basically got outside of, defensively.
Yes, sir.
You said defensively. I'm sorry. I got that. They were able to play us in the secondary, similar to the way Arizona played us. And they kept us underneath them all night long. We had that one attempt, call play before the game that we tried deep and overthrew him. But other than that, they kept behind us or kept us out in front of them, made us throw short, and then did some things that similar to what Arizona did and kept us from really doing what we had intended to do in the game.
Jerry, since Buffalo and Arizona both had success doing that, is it y'all's expectation that, hey, teams are probably going to play us a similar way the rest of the way?
Well, always. You know exactly. As a matter of fact, you do things out of tendency sometimes, call plays out of tendency, so that the other team will practice on it, so that they don't spend their time practicing on the things you're going to do. That's intentionally done. That's why you do some of that stuff earlier in the season, so that they have to get ready for it. You may not be planning on using it, but that's absolutely. They have everything you've done in all your games. They have it available to them. The opposing team this week, Miami does, have every play we've run this year. And you can expect them to, the things that were successful against us, you can expect them to track. If they have personnel to, if they think they've got personnel to do what was successful against us with another team.
Jerry, you guys, we've talked
game, what it's about.
You talked about it. We've all discussed this. Is just how good you guys are at home. Plus 171 point differential. That's one of the highest in NFL history. It's the highest in the history of the franchise. But at the same time, you've got this negative point differential on the road, and there seems to be a lot of just loss for words for guys in the locker room when you ask, "Hey, what is the issue with going on the road?" Why do you think there is such a disparity between how you guys play at home and on the road?
Well, I would say the other night, weather. For instance, one's wet and one's dry. And you say, well, the other team has to play in the wet too. Yeah, they do. But I'm just giving you a difference. We have perfect conditions to play in at home. We've got the elements a lot of times on the road. And we'll play Washington in the outside at a tough time of the year for Washington. So I'd say weather. I'd say that anybody, when they walk out there, Michael Irvin used to tell me, man, when I'm running down the field, I can hear almost individuals yelling at me from the stands. Our players are not oblivious to the stands and to the support in the stands. They're not oblivious when you shut them up on the road, when you're winning, taking it to them, and they're not oblivious when they're at a fever pitch. So I'd say atmosphere Seattle is well known, and I think a lot of Seattle's success can be attributed to that great crowd that they have and the ability to get that noise out at the level they get it out. I know technically they cause you a cadence problem in Seattle. So I'd say definitely you can give some credence to on the road. We used to have an 18-inch drop-off in our old stadium, Texas Stadium, and the end zone in the corner of the end zones would be 18 inches lower than the center of the field. And so our teams could get used to, and the quarterbacks could get used to throwing and catching the ball, whereas a team that didn't play on it every day had a little harder adjustment to make. Those nuances all go with home field advantage. So I think when you look at a technical edge, I think a home game is a technical edge.
What did you think of that Seattle ending last night on Monday Night Football?
It was marvelous. I watched every bit of it. I thought I was about to doze, and then when they made those two exciting plays at the end, I couldn't sleep till 4 this morning because of the impact that it can have on our year and our season.
Yes, absolutely. And now Jerry Jones here on The Fan. When you guys get ready for this stretch against these really good teams and the playoffs, everyone says the same thing. Oh, well, let's see what happens against the over 500 teams. Let's see what happens with the Cowboys and a real test. And Buffalo showed you what happens. What do you say to that overall narrative against the Cowboys, against under 500 versus over 500?
Well, I think we've got to use that as a challenge. And we've got to say, look, we've been to the playoffs. We've been to the playoffs the last 3 years. We've got to get better and go deep in the playoffs like all the way. And so you use that just like you do anything in your life. And I don't know of any of us that don't sit down on a specific part of our lives and evaluate it and say, how can I approach this better? How can I do it better? I don't like the way that it's taking me too long to get to work. I'm going to try a different route. If you don't like where you are, you got to change. And we need to, obviously, we need to not only get in the playoffs, we need to win games in the playoffs. And I'm not being trite here. That should be a burning desire and is a burning desire in this team and in our franchise.
Jerry, did the bug or flu, whatever was going around through the locker room, play any impact on Sunday?
I don't think so. I think a player has the ability with those types of symptoms and those types of things, sick stomach, those kind of things, weakness. I think you can get the adrenaline flowing. You can get the proper treatment as long as anything is not potentially injurious on a longer term or a permanent basis. But I think you can get and play above the kind of symptoms that go with flu. I've seen it happen too many times. You can do that. You can't work past a bad knee or an ankle or a shoulder. Those are more hard to overcome. But the kind of things that involve flu setbacks, you can take something, you can do some things to give you strength, you can do IVs, you can do a lot of things. And I can't tell you the people that I've seen play that looked like they couldn't get out of bed and thought they couldn't get out of bed, and they go out and tear it up.
Jerry, did you expect more out of Mazi Smith as a first-round pick, or has he met your expectations?
But we all want more with your first-round pick, or for that matter, if you can get it out of any pick commensurate where you take them. But Mazi has shown us everything that caused us to take him. He's an extraordinary athlete. He's got quickness along with Larry Allen's superhuman strength. He's got all those kinds of things. But does he need to continue his development? Tom Landry used to say, don't ever total pass judgment on a defensive lineman until his third year. They have to have that kind of, according to their backgrounds, but they have to have that kind of patience. Now, we've seen some of them, the kid up at Philadelphia, the number one pick, and first-round pick they had.
Carter.
He's having an outstanding year, got an interception against us. And so my point is that different strokes for different folks. But Mazi went in there, and he got some good snaps the other night. But nobody played well enough to say he had a good game. I think that back Lawrence had a good game. Marcus Lawrence had a good game. And and I've got two or three others that I could mention. But the point is, we're going to need Mazi, and we obviously need him in the middle there to help along with the guys that are playing with him. We're going to need a boy because they're flat going to come to the run game against us in the future.
Jerry, with the way your defense is built, some people have said the Cowboys don't have a toughness issue. They are built with speed, getting after the pass rusher. You guys put together the roster, obviously, with Steven and Will. Is that accurate, where maybe in today's pass-heavy NFL, you guys aren't a run-heavy stopping defense?
Do you remember why we drafted Mazi?
Good point, yes.
So we knew exactly your question last spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to, because of the way we get after them, the way we try to have our backers, for instance, cover the tight ends and be in coverage as well as be pass rushers, as well as be able to step up there and take them on when they're running at you. But we also know that we've got to ask a lot of those interior guys. That's why we drafted Mazi, and that's the challenge. Everything in football is, if you're going to take something inordinately, you got to give up a little something someplace else. Everything. And that's what you're seeing. And so where you've had to get a little light, and I mean that figuratively, but it could apply to the actual weight of players, size of players. But where we have added some speed, where we've added some quickness or push or pass rush threat, we've usually, to get that, we need to make up for it with some bulk other places as one thing you're trying to do, as just an example.
Jerry, do you expect to have Zack Martin available this Sunday against Miami?
I don't know. I don't know. He's trying to. They didn't rule him out. I've seen. I know what a quad bruise is, and we'll see how he gets his strength there. Bruise does two things. It's not only painful to work with, but it also can take the strength out of that area too, and so we've got to get that back.
Jerry Jones here on 105.3 The Fan.
Jerry, there was a report this week from Ian Rappaport over at NFL Network that Mike McCarthy could be in line for an extension this offseason. Is that anything you're looking at heading into the spring?
Well, he's been to coached three playoff teams in a row. I think he's done an outstanding job. I think the fact that he's your offensive coordinator as well as your head coach puts him in as high or higher stead than when he was the walk-around coach. All of those things are positive. I frankly said to the staff yesterday, you got us in this spot to be as disappointed as we are about the Buffalo deal and our loss there. It's your fault because y'all have done such a great job this year getting our team to where we, our fans, everybody, have the expectations that we have. You pushed us up here to where we get out here and play great this next 3 weeks, and we could absolutely have something great happen for us. Now, y'all caused us to be disappointed here on Monday by not living to that standard up there. But hats off to you. In other words, I didn't spend my day in there looking grumpy or looking however you might look, even though we were all disappointed. The best part of our team this year has been the coaching staff.
Jerry, thank you for the fantastic answers. As always, we appreciate the time, and let's go get one back in Miami.
You bet, guys. Thank you.